The Checkpoint is presented by GM Pharma, the first international multinational pharmaceutical company in Georgia. GM Pharma, to serve those who need it most.
This is The Checkpoints. I'm Elena Guangilashvili, author and the host of the show, and the Checkpoints team is ready to sum up business and economics week for you. Basisbank is no longer proceeding with its plan to acquire Liberty Bank following the statement by Natia Turnava, president of the National Bank of Georgia. Irakli Rukhadze, co-owner of Liberty Bank, has also confirmed that Basisbank is no longer considering the purchase. Consultations between the parties continue on various forms of partnership, which potentially include the merger of the two banks. If we are talking about anything now, it is more about a merger in which both parties will remain, said Rukhadze in a comment to BMG. Earlier, Natia Turnava noted that the structure of the deal might change, emphasizing that negotiations were still ongoing between the two entities. According to BMG's information, one of the unresolved issues during the acquisition process was the valuation of the deal, which Rukhadze indirectly confirmed several weeks ago. He explained that the national banks imposed restrictions and procedural requirements contributed to delays and complications. This is more a consequence than a cause. The National Bank imposed certain restrictions and preconditions on Basisbank, which delayed the deal. For example, documentation, especially from China, was not easy to collect. This led to various complications. One of the reasons is that Liberty has grown during this time, and the deal we made at the beginning of the year looks different today. However, we continue to work on the deal, said Rukhadze. Negotiations between the two banks regarding Basisbank's potential acquisition of Liberty had been underway since early 2025. Now, who owns Liberty and Basisbank? Liberty Bank has long been the third largest bank in Georgia, with assets totaling 5.77 billion lari as of September 2025 and a loan portfolio of 4.12 billion lari. The bank posted a profit of 94.5 million in the first 9 months of 2025 and is owned by Honeywell Partners, an investment holding managed by Irakli Rukhadze. Basisbank, owned by the Chinese Hualin Group, is currently the fourth largest bank in Georgia, with assets of 4.47 billion lari and a loan portfolio of 3.13 billion. The bank earned 79.3 million lari in profit during the same period. If the two banks merge, their combined assets would total 10.24 billion lari, and their joint loan portfolio would reach 7.25 billion, potentially creating one of the largest players in Georgia's banking sector. Some more news in business in our brief overview of the week. Natia Taktakishvili takes the floor.
Part of Georgia's business community says that growing political risks and delays in the European integration process are reducing investors' confidence and slowing decision-making in key sectors, including real estate. According to Zurab Eristavi, founder of Rentals and Eristavi Estate, there is a noticeable trend of investors becoming more cautious, with many putting projects and expansion plans on hold. The growth forecast and pace of Georgia's economy are quite impressive, especially compared to the region, and it's impossible not to notice that, Eristavi told BMG. However, political risks and a very negative signal to investors. We see this directly in our business in real estate, where many large investors are hesitating or delaying their decisions. Eristavi explained that while new large-scale projects are being announced, the reality on the ground is difficult for those already operating in this sector. Over the past decade, we have worked with our international organizations that entered Georgia and expanding steadily, taking one office and then a second. But now that scale of expansion has slowed. Our long-term clients tell us that they are waiting to see what happens next before making new commitments, he said. The cautious investor sentiment follows the European Commission's latest enlargement report, which stated that Georgia's EU candidate status remains only on paper, highlighting ongoing political challenges and uncertainty over the country's European path. Georgian poultry company Chirina is expanding into new export markets. As founder Revaz Vashakidze told BMDG, the company obtained the halal food certificate about a month ago, enabling exports of Georgian chicken meat to a range of Arab countries. We spent a lot of time obtaining this halal certificate, which is not easy. We received it about a month ago, and it will allow us to export Georgian chicken products to many Arab countries, Vashakidze said. Although the founder did not specify which product lines are planned for exports, he emphasized that certification opens new strategic directions for the company, which is already active in neighboring markets. Currently, Chirina exports mainly raw chicken meat to Armenia, taking advantage of the short 250-kilometer distance between Tbilisi and Yerevan, which allows the company to deliver frozen products efficiently. The company also supplies products to Azerbaijan under similar logistical conditions. At this same time, Vashakidze stressed the importance of tax incentive to boost domestic production, arguing that the removal of VAT on chicken meat would significantly strengthen local manufacturing capacity. The main thing is that local production should be exempt from value-added tax. This will allow us to increase production, he added. Chirina, one of Georgia's leading poultry companies, continues to invest in modernization and export expansion, positioning itself to access new regional and international markets, particularly in the Middle East. Georgian transport and logistics company Inex Group has completed the construction of a new customers terminal and sorting center near Tbilisi International Airport, aiming to boost efficiency and meet the growing demand for parcel delivery. The official opening is scheduled in the coming days. According to Mikhail Babunashvili, the company's head of business development, the new terminal will significantly enhance Inex Group's ability to handle the increasing volume of parcels driven by the rise of e-commerce in Georgia. E-commerce in Georgia is expanding every year, with more people using online platforms for shopping. Inex Group actively cooperates with global marketplaces, online stores, some through exclusive partnership, making this one of the most important growth directions, Babunashvili told BMDG. He added that customs clearance has traditionally been a challenge in Georgia, often delaying parcel delivery times. With the launch of our new customer terminal near Tbilisi Airport, we expect to improve both efficiency and delivery speed. The new facility will allow us to process and deliver parcels to clients much faster, Babunashvili noted. Official data support company's expansion strategy in the first half of 2025. The volume of air-delivered parcels in Georgia increased by 66% year-on-year. The new terminal is expected to strengthen Inex Group's position in Georgia's rapidly growing logistic and e-commerce market. Outbound tourism from Georgia is showing signs of a steady recovery, with moderate growth observed this year, according to Salome Beraya, director of Pegasus Touristic Georgia. I can confidently say that we have definitely seen an increase this year, Beraya told BMDG. Since December of last year, there has been an unstable situation in the country that still continues today. However, our customers have adapted to this instability and are traveling more confidently. The growth is not large scale, but it's still a good indicator. When it comes to destination, Egypt remains the top choice for Georgian travelers. The number of destinations is Egypt, especially Sharm el-Sheikh, where we operate weekly charter flights year-round, Beraya noted. We also resumed tours to Hurghada this year, a region that hadn't seen tour packages since the pandemic. Other popular destinations include United Arab Emirates, which continues to attract steady demand thanks to numerous flight connections, and Thailand, which remains a favorite among Georgian vacationers. Despite the increase in travel, tour operators say the cost of traveling has risen noticeably. According to Beraya, higher prices are driven by multiple factors, including increased airfare, hotel costs, and broader global inflationary pressure. Unfortunately, price rise every year compared to the last year. We have seen an increase of about 26%, directly linked to the geopolitical and economic situation affecting not only our country but also our neighbors, she explained. This inevitability impacts our pricing policy, Beraya added. Tbilisi-based confectionery Ganjina, located on Abashidze Street, is broadening its product line by introducing sandwiches and croissants. To accommodate the new offerings, the company has established a dedicated kitchen on the second floor for production of savory items. Founder Sopo Chikovani told BMG TV's Women's Narrative. Chikovani explained that the expansion into savory products was driven by strong customer demand. Sandwiches will vary in both taste and presentation. Producing croissant is a complex process, but we hope to achieve excellent results, she noted. The entrepreneur also discussed the challenges of the confectionery business in Georgia, emphasizing the difficulty of maintaining croissant quality. The product market here is unstable, so we often have to adjust prices. Recipes ensure high standards. It's demanding work, but the trust and love of our customers motivate us to keep developing, Chikovani said. In addition to Ganjina, Chikovani recently launched the Khachapuri brand Dafa, which she says is performing even better than Ganjina at its early stage. Despite growing competition, she highlights that Ganjina maintains a distinctive style, creating unique desserts tailored to local tastes rather than following classic lines. Looking ahead, Ganjina plans further expansion, including opening new standards in shopping centers and eventually entering regional markets such as Kutaisi or Batumi. This year, we are focusing on establishing the new kitchen and stabilizing our second facility before expansion, Chikovani explained. I would like to see the greatest reunion in the country, says Iago Bitarishvili, founder of famous Georgian wine Iago's Wine. He spoke about unity, freedom and business sentiments in an interview with BMG TV, reflecting on the current political climate and the slowdown in Georgia's European integration process. Bitarishvili emphasized the importance of shared goals and collective spirit in driving national progress. In a country has a great goal and moves toward it together, we will achieve much better results for the nation and for every citizen. Remember, when the Georgian national team qualified for the European Championship, everyone was happy, even those who did not understand football. One of two people cannot be happy. When you see everyone around you celebrating, you feel happy too. In his conversation with BMG TV, Bitarishvili expanded on the symbolic meaning of Georgian European past, stressing that freedom should form the foundation of the country's development. We are also happy about qualifying for European football because that moment, that symbolic meaning, half of Georgia came to the matches. Our cultural values and spirit are already European. A lot has changed since the Soviet period. We have changed. Progress, good living and a dignified old age are found in countries where there is a freedom and democracy, and today there are the Western cartoonist, he noted when reminded of his earlier statement that there is no enthusiasm for doing business in the country. Bitarishvili acknowledged that challenges remain, but stress, persistence, mood affects every business. Without optimism about the future investment, is difficult to say that everything is fine would not be true, but there are things you can't give up or abandon because you have developed your life to them, and for us that's wine, a tradition this country has preserved for 8,000 years. Georgian Rajuli ham producer Lorica has increased its production by 15% this year compared to 2020, driving by growing market demand. The company's founder, Mariam Lebanidze, stated that the update in an interview with BMG, adding that despite higher raw material costs, Lorica continues to maintain stable prices from consumers. We have increased our productivity by about 15% and sales have grown accordingly. The cost of raw materials has risen by roughly 5%, and since we need about 1.4 kilogram of raw material to produce 1 kilogram of ham, this puts pressure on maintaining prices. However, we are trying not to increase the market price and to avoid causing discomfort to our customers, said Lebanidze. Currently, per kilogram ham costs 50 lari. Lebanidze noted that Lorica has recently expanded its local presence by partnering with 3 new new restaurants and 2 fast food outlets. The company buys raw materials from local farmers and currently employs 3 people, which she says is adequate for the existing production capacity. Our team of 3 is fully sufficient for current workload. As we move into the HoReCa sector, including restaurants, bakeries, and catering establishments, production will increase proportionally. Our current resources can handle additional demand, the founder explained. According to Lebanese, LORUCA is partnering for gradual expansion into HoReCa market, aiming to reach more consumers through culinary partnerships. Our goal is to bring Rajuli ham to the market on a larger scale, not only as a retail product but also as a part of diverse dishes. This direction holds great potential for our growth, she said. Founded with an initial investment of 20,000 lari, LORUCA currently offers 4 types of ham and meat products available for purchase online throughout Georgia. Georgian spice gem and canned products manufacturing company Ojahuri has recorded a 7% increase in sales in the first 9 months of 2025, both in local and exporting markets. According to Salome Neparidze, the company's marketing and public relations manager, the brand expects overall growth to reach around 50% by the end of the year. This year has been successful and productive for us. We are now entering a particularly active period, the New Year's season, and are working at double speed to meet growing demand. If the current pace continues, we expect growth to reach about 50%, said Neparidze on BMG2's Women's Narrative, adding that the company's wide product variety played a key role in achieving these results. In response to a rise in demand, Ojahuri opened a new distribution and logistic hub in Kutaisi, which ensures uninterrupted supply to Western Georgia. We are working to maintain a stable supply chain. The Kutaisi hub already serves the Western region, and in the future we plan to establish a similar logistics center in Eastern Georgia, Neparidze explained. Ojahuri's product line includes around 90 types of spices, while its second segment, jams, compotes, and marinades, remain largely export-focused. The company, however, plans to strengthen its presence in the domestic market for this product category. Speaking about challenges, Neparidze noted that the company had to increase product prices by 12% earlier this year due to the climate-related shortage of raw materials. Climate change has become one of biggest challenges, especially for spice production. For example, yellow flowers is often in short supply. Since quality is our top priority, we work only with suppliers that meet high standards, both local and international, she said, emphasizing that the price adjustment has not affected consumer demand.
The Finance and Budget Committee of Georgia has, in its first reading, approved draft amendments to the tax code of Georgia in an accelerated procedure, proposing significant changes to the country's tax framework. The draft law provides for the abolition of the special tax regime for the organization of fairs and traders operating within fairgrounds. At the same time, certain tax benefits will be extended until the January 1st, 2028. Under the amendments, regulatory provisions for the special trade zone and fair organization will be removed from the tax code. Additionally, the ultimate parent company of a multinational enterprise group will be required to submit a report to the tax authority within 12 months after the end of the reporting year. Key tax benefits extended until 2028 include provisions in the agricultural sector previously valid until 2026, VAT exemption on the supply and import of investment gold with the right to deduct, tax relief on the import of raw tobacco, exemption from cash register obligations for individuals operating from non-stationary trading places in markets excluding small businesses and VAT payers, fixed income taxation for individuals earning from short-term rentals of residential premises, incentives to promote the completion of construction projects started before August 2008. The proposed amendments aim to simplify taxation, encourage investment, and maintain support for strategic sectors while phasing out outdated special regimes. The government of Georgia is establishing a new legal entity of public law, LEPL, the Central Procurement Authority, which will be responsible for conducting consolidated tenders beginning June 1st, 2026. According to the draft law prepared by the government administration and currently under parliamentary review, the new body aims to enhance efficiency, transparency, and oversight in the tender processes of public institutions. Originally, the creation of the Central Procurement Authority was scheduled for January 1st, 2027, but the updated draft law accelerates its launch by 6 months. The initiative was presented in Parliament by the Parliamentary Secretary of the government, Vakhtang Bachiashvili, who explained that the new authority will assume certain responsibilities currently held by the State Procurement Agency. The government decided to put the Central Procurement Authority into operation from June 1st, 2026. Bachiashvili said it will function as an independent legal entity and take over the duties related to consolidated tenders that are currently managed by the State Procurement Agency. This body will independently oversee and implement these tenders. Since 2019, the share of consolidated tenders, those that combine common procurement needs across multiple public agencies, has been steadily increasing. Such tenders typically cover goods and services that are uniform across government entities, including fuel supply, mobile communication services, A4 paper printers, and office equipment. The Ministry of Infrastructure plans to establish a new multifunctional quality control laboratory in Tbilisi aimed at enhancing oversight and improving the overall quality of construction materials and infrastructure projects across Georgia. According to the ministry, the laboratory will significantly strengthen the country's infrastructure quality management system and ensure compliance with modern technical standards. The new laboratory will conduct testing in the following areas: asphalt mixture and pavement, hard and unhardened concrete, binders and stone aggregates, coarse and fine reinforcement materials, soils and base layers, road operation parameters including road signs and horizontal vertical markings, slope stability and safety monitoring, materials used in water supply and sewage system, as well as electrical and control systems, the current condition and integrity of engineering structures. The Roads Department has already conducted a tender for the preparation of technical documentation and author supervision services. The winning company, Tashab, together with department representatives, visited Germany to learn from the experience of Chemische Laboratorium, Heinrich Hart, GmbH and SPT, Paul Simon and partner engineer. During the visit, Georgian specialists attended a theoretical and practical presentation of the SKM measuring machine used to determine road and tire adhesion, as well as a road diagnostic system demonstration. The ministry notes that the new laboratory will be the first multifunctional quality control center of its kind in Georgia, contributing to the development of the construction sector and the improvement of infrastructure quality nationwide. Crude oil transportation through the Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan pipeline declined in the first 9 months of 2025, according to BP's latest report. Between January and September 2025, approximately 159 million barrels, 19 million tons of crude oil were exported via BTC and loaded onto 216 tankers at the Ceyhan terminal. This represents a decrease of 6 million barrels compared to the same period in 2024, when the pipeline transported 165 million barrels, over 22 million tons. The report also notes that BTC's operating expenses for the period amounted to USD 97 million, while capital expenditures reached $50 million. Since its launch in June 2006, the 1,768-kilometer pipeline has transported more than 4.6 billion barrels of crude oil, over 605 million tons, and loaded 6,078 tankers bound for global markets. The PTC pipeline is operated by BP and owned by a consortium of international shareholders. The volume of container cargo transported by rail between China and Georgia via the Middle Corridor increased by nearly 40% in the first 9 months of 2025, according to Tamar Yoseliani, Deputy Minister of Economy from the Georgian Dream Party. In January-September 2025, the number of containers transported from and to China through Georgia on the Middle Corridor reached 12,721 TEU, marking a 39.9% increase compared to the same period recorded in 2024, Ioseliani said. She emphasized that the Middle Corridor continues to play an increasingly important role in the country's logistics chain and long-term economic development. These figures clearly indicate a significant rise in freight transportation along this road. With ongoing railway modernization and capacity expansion reforms, the Middle Corridor will generate even greater economic benefits for Georgia, Ioseliani noted. According to official data, between January and September 2025, total amount of cargo transported under the rail import regime reached 2.5 million tons, up 10.8% from 2.2 million tons in the same period of 2024. A notable increase was also recorded in the overall number of containers transported by rail during the first 9 months of 2025. 79,239 TEU were transported, representing a 17.3% rise compared to 67,573 TEU in the corresponding period of last year. Georgia's pension agency reports that as of October 31, 2025, the total value of the country's pension fund assets reached 7.9 billion lari. According to the agency, the number of participants in the pension savings scheme stands at 1.69 million. To date, 24,823 beneficiaries have received pension payments totaling 112 million lari. The fund's total generated income has exceeded 2.1 billion lari, reflecting continued growth in both participation and investment returns, the report states. Batumi Seaport has recorded significant growth in cargo turnover, exceeding 6 million tons as of November 1st, 2025, according to data released by Kastransoil. The increase in transshipment volumes was primarily driven by the growth in container, ferry, and certain types of dry cargo transportation. Notably, the port also reported a rise in the handling of oil and light oil products of Kazakh origin, contributing to the overall positive trend. We continue to strengthen Batumi's role as a key link in the Trans-Caspian International Transport Road, ensuring stable supplies and supporting economic cooperation between Kazakhstan, Georgia, and the Black Sea region, said the General Director of Batumi Oil Terminal. The ongoing expansion of Batumi port operations underscores its strategic importance as a regional logistics hub connecting Central Asia with European markets. As of September 2025, Georgia's car fleet reached 1.9 million vehicles, with 125,400 newly registered cars added in the first 9 months of the year, according to a study by TBC Capital. Gasoline-powered cars make up the majority of the fleet at 64%, followed by diesel vehicles at 23%. Hybrids account for 12%, though most rely primarily on gasoline, while electric cars still represent just 1% of the total. Despite previous declines in 2024, initial car registrations are now rising. The share of gasoline vehicles among new registrations grew from 39% in 2019 to 56% in 2024. Meanwhile, the proportion of hybrid and diesel vehicles in first-time registrations has fallen, reflecting a gradual market shift back towards gasoline models. Georgia's foreign exchange reserves rose by $175 million in October, reaching a record $5.6 billion, marking a 37% increase, or $1.5 billion compared to October 2024. The growth is largely driven by the National Bank of Georgia's active foreign currency purchases. In 2025, the NBG has already bought $1.6 billion, with updated data for October scheduled for release on November 25. Rising gold prices have also contributed to the increase. The NBG purchased 7 tons of gold for $500 million in spring 2024, and the portfolio's current value has jumped to $920 million. Last month alone, gold price appreciation added $43 million to reserves, making gold a significant factor in Georgia's strengthened international reserve position. This week's economic news and outlook in our short overview.
External merchandise trade of Georgia amounted to $20.8 billion in January-October 2025, 8.6% higher year-on-year, according to the preliminary data from the National Statistics Office of Georgia. The value of exports increased by 6.8%, reaching $5.8 billion, while the imports increased by 9.3%, amounting to $14.2 billion 9 million USD. The trade deficit totaled to 9.160 million USD, accounting for 44% of trade turnover. Minister of Health Mikhail Sarjoladze announced ambitious plans to reform primary health care in Georgia with 120 million lari allocated over the next 4 years to improve access and quality of medical services. The pilot phase has been completed and nationwide rollout will begin after data analysis. The reform includes higher salaries for doctors and nurses along with financial incentives to boost efficiency and results. Primary health care is central to the plan, providing essential medical advice, preventive care and referrals. Currently, 1,400 institutions and over 1,500 qualified doctors serve citizens across the country. Sarjoladze stressed that stronger primary healthcare system will save costs and enhance public well-being. The success of this reform means healthier citizens and stronger healthcare foundation for Georgia, he said. The number of tourist visits made by Georgian residents abroad increased by 3% year-on-year in the third quarter of 2025, reaching 412,000 according to the data published by the National Statistics Office of Georgia. Overall, Georgian residents made 599,000 visits abroad during July-September 2025, which is 3,000 fewer than in the same period of the previous year. The decline was mainly due to a reduction in one-day trips, which fell by 14,000 to 197,000. Joseph notes that such short trips are primary for shopping purposes through the Sarpi border crossing with Turkey. By Joseph's definition, tourist visits are trips that last more than 1 day. These accounted for the 412,000 visits, showing sustained growth, particularly toward European Union countries. Turkey remained the most visited destination with 206,000 visits in Q3 through total visits to the country decreased by 10% due to fewer short-term trips. Russia ranked second with 110,000 visits, making a 4% decline. In contrast, trips to European Union increased to 98,000, reflecting an 8% annual rise. Minister of Economy Mariam Kurivishvili emphasized the strategic importance of Eagle Hills project in Tbilisi and Gonu, worth over 6.5 billion USD, noting that the Georgian state holds a 33% stake as a co-partner. She highlighted that the investment is fully Georgian in scope, with no special privileges granted to the investor. Kurivishvili stressed the economic benefits of the project, including dividends and contributions to the national budget, describing the initiative as a vital boost to Georgia's overall development. She underscored that these projects will actively engage local entrepreneurs and generate sustainable demand for commercial spaces, hotels and restaurants. The minister also pointed out that the projects are expected to create more than 30,000 jobs for Georgian citizens, involving local architects, designers, builders and engineers. She emphasized that this will help mitigate labor migration by providing attractive employment opportunities within the country. Finally, Kurivishvili addressed concerns about migration, stating that Georgia's strict migration laws eliminate any risk of illegal migration associated with the project. She noted that the investment will also significantly boost tourism, attracting hundreds of thousands of visitors annually and drawing additional foreign direct investments to the country. Tbilisi Mayor Kakakaladze praised the Eagle Hills project, the largest Arab investment in Georgia. Highlighting its economic benefits, he emphasized that the project implemented by private investors is expected to create new jobs and generate revenue for the state budget, while Georgian companies might also be involved in the process. Addressing concerns about potential corruption risk, Kaladze stated that the choice of contractors and designers is the private investors' prerogative. He stressed that the project has nothing but positive side for the country's economic development. The mayor also noted that the project will prioritize preserving green areas, Krtanisi Forest Park, recreational species and existing lakes will be maintained and renovated to create a pleasant environment combining parks, residential zones, hotels and leisure areas for residents and visitors. As a part of the project, the state will transfer a 590-hectare land plot near Tbilisi-Rustavi highway covering Ponichala, Akhtaklia, Karajala to the investor. By summer 2026, a detailed project plan must be prepared and approved, after which the implementation phase will commence. A case of illegal logging and timber transportation has been uncovered in the Bolnisi-Dmanisi forest area, the Ministry of Environmental Protection and Agriculture reports. According to the agency, employers of Kvemokartli Forestry Service identified a local resident who had illegally cut down hornbeam trees for firewood. An administrative offense report was filed against the individual. Authorities sealed the vehicle used in the incident, and illegally harvested timber was transported to the Bolnisi business yard for storage. The ministry emphasized that intensive monitoring is being carried out to combat the illegal exploitation of natural resources. Surveillance includes regular forest patrols as well as the use of video traps and drones across state-managed forest territories.
In 2026, the state will receive 350 million lari in revenue from the privatization of property, while the total amount that the state can potentially receive by transferring property to private ownership has not been calculated. This was stated in the parliament by the Minister of Finance of the GD government, Lasha Khutsishvili, during the presentation of the 2026 budget at the second reading. MP Lado Kakadze asked the minister a question about the state's privatization potential. The privatization resource in the budget is 350 million lari. How much does the state have of this resource in general? What property is there that is waiting for privatization? The sooner the state gets rid of this debt and it turns out to be in private hands, the better it will be in terms of its capitalization. Has this been studied? Kakadze asked. According to Lasha Khutsishvili, the total amount has not yet been calculated, although there is a willingness for various agencies to participate in this type of assessment. Naturally, the amount in the budget received through privatization is determined based on the historical revenues that have been generated as a result of privatization over the years, and 2026 is no exception in this regard. The question you asked about the need for an assessment is much broader, and naturally, in the assessment of such potential, together with the relevant sectoral ministry, together with the Ministry of Economy and Sustainable Development, we are ready to participate in such an assessment, Khutsishvili replied. The Ministry of Finance of Georgia plans to submit amendments to the 2025 state budget and the revised draft of the 2026 budget to Parliament by the end of November, Deputy Finance Minister Georgi Kakauridze announced during a session of the Parliamentary Committee on Finance and Budget. According to Kakauridze, the government will present both documents simultaneously, the adjusted version of the current year's budget and the updated parameters for next year's financial plan. The budget presented today maintains the same parameters as the previous version, since we are still working on refining both the 2026 figures and those for the current year. The updated data will be submitted within 2 weeks. We are also reviewing Parliament's remarks and expect that most of them will be reflected in the revised version, said Kakauridze. The second draft of the 2026 budget has already been sent to Parliament and discussions began earlier today. However, the document currently mirrors the first submission, with changes expected only after the ministry finalizes its ongoing revisions. Adjustments to the 2025 budget became necessary following a shortfall in budget execution. In the first 9 months of 2025, government spending reached 19.3 billion lari compared to the planned 20.7 billion, representing 93.3% of the target. The 1.4 billion lari gap prompted the government to reassess its spending priorities. As Kakauridze explained, the updated plan may involve transferring funds from programs with low implementation rates to those with higher performance levels to ensure more effective budget execution. Until next Sunday, you know what to do. You should stay tuned on BMJ. It's worth it.
The Checkpoint is presented by GM Pharma, the first international multinational pharmaceutical company in Georgia. GM Pharma, to serve those who need it most.